G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment and subscribe. And yes, you are here today because we're going to talk about the greatest sport in the world, rugby. And the Wallabies will be playing Wales this weekend in Melbourne. Interesting selections has just been announced. The Wallabies, as we were kind of expecting, some of the players that missed out on selections in the first game has been rotated into the squad. Especially the big names like Nick White and Ben Donaldson, who's had amazing season in Super Rugby, has been caught up into the bench. So yeah, Joe Schmidt is going to give everybody a bit of a taste of Test Rugby and actually building towards the future for real this time. And for the Welsh, it seems to me that Warren Gatland has once again opted to stick with the same game plan, bar a few changes here and there due to injuries. I was very surprised that Nick Tompkins and Kieran Hardy and Sam Costello weren't caught up into the starting position for this weekend. And yeah, we'll have to see how that's going to go for the Welsh, because they were a little bit behind for the entire game for last week. And you know what they say, if you don't succeed, try again. And doing the same thing over and over again is the definition of insanity and expecting a different result, right? So not really sure what Gatland has in mind, but his decisions has been made. Was a bit of interesting stat I forgot to mention last week is the fact that Wallabies has only lost to Wales once in its 100-something year history of playing each other. Yeah, over 100 years of playing each other, has only ever lost once. That was in 1969. So it does. So yeah, Warren Gatland with these selections, it's going to be a little bit difficult for them to once again win this weekend at Melbourne, but definitely not completely out of the questions. The Wallabies, like I've already mentioned, has a few changes. One of the biggest one is the injury to captain Liam Wright. He was reported that he was not going to be the captain this weekend before the name teams were announced, as the couple of days ago. So there were some speculations as to why he wasn't selected, and it turns out he was injury issues. So yeah, that's going to be the captaincy is going to be turned over to Mr. James Slipper in the loose set proposition. For the Welsh, they have a massive big injury as well to Aaron Wainwright due to a hamstring injury, so they're going to have to come up with newer players as well. So yeah, that's probably the biggest change for Wales. Aaron Wainwright has been probably the best player for Wales for at least this year in the Six Nations as well. Just really, really good and physical, and they are going to be lacking that physicality even more this weekend. The weather, it's going to be in Melbourne. It's going to be raining, so this could play into Welsh favour, and you could get into a bit of a sloggy sort of matches. The Wallaby players, in terms of playing in the rain, hasn't been great, to be honest, especially based on their Super Rugby display. So this could play into the Welsh benefit, and especially considering how good the goal kicking was for the Wales, for the Welsh number 10. It's gonna be, yeah, it could potentially be a bit of an iffy situation the Wallabies could find themselves into if they let the discipline slip off this week and concede give away a bunch of easy points and not able to keep the ball in hand due to the rain. And the referee for the weekend, it's going to be Nika Amashu Kelly, who refereed the game last week between the All Blacks and England. I thought it was really good last week for about 70 minutes, and the last 10 minutes it really became tight and wasn't giving out penalties. And his interpretation of the scrum as well is a little bit interesting, because the All Blacks had the overwhelming dominance in the scrummaging, and he was penalising the All Blacks for early pushes. We'll see if the Welsh will adopt that this week. And the All Blacks were penalised as well, despite having the dominance going forward for standing up straight. So Tupou might have to watch out for that. He did do that, when the scrum become really dominant. He did have the habit of standing himself up. So we might see that as a counterpoint against Tupou's dominance as well this weekend. We'll have to see how that's being interpreted by Nika. So let's have a look at the lineup now. Let's have a look at the players that are being entrusted this weekend to perform. So coming in the front rowers now, unchanged for the Wallabies. James Slipper coming in number 1, Matt Fazzle number 2, Tanoa Tupou time coming in number 3. Tupou was so dominant last week. It was just the beauty to watch. Before we talk about more, the most important part last week that the Wallabies needed to pick up is the rolling maul defense. It was an absolute disaster. So the Wallabies hopefully had a spend the week just doing rolling mauls. But yeah, that's definitely one big area that the Wallabies need to pick up. The scrum dominance was a big plus. But yeah, the rolling maul was one thing that they need to consider, especially the raining conditions. The game is going to be pretty tight, wet conditions, and the Wales will be going for those mauls more often than not to try to get that win. Gareth Thomas coming number 1, Lewis Lake number 2, and Archie Griffin unchanged coming number 3 for the Welsh. Like I've already mentioned, the scrummaging was a big issue. I guess the 3 operators were pretty good in the lineouts. The setup for the maul was incredibly good, and the way they operate the maul as well, it's just really crisp and clinic when it comes to time to roll. They did make one mistake where Lewis Lake entered the maul from the side and got in front of the ball carrier, and that led to the Welsh losing a try. The try was scrapped because of it, so something that they will definitely improve on that as well. So a very big battle between these guys coming up this weekend. Jeremy Williams comes number 4. Lukem Salaka-Lotu number 5. Really good in lineouts last week in terms of their own lineout throws and being able to disrupt the Welsh lineout. I was pretty impressed. I was expecting a bit of an issue here and there, but no, that was not there. Christian Tuinza and Daffy Jenkins coming in for the Welsh. Tuinza was okay last week. I thought he is definitely developing as a more and more prominent option for the Welsh in the lineouts, and he had a pretty good season in the English Premiership for the Chiefs. I think it was for the Chiefs. So yeah, good to see him, that especially as well, that powerhouse, the setup that these guys have for the maul as well. Already talked about, really good. In the loose forwards now, couple changes for both teams. Rob Valentini moves to 6, the Wallabies. Fraser McRyan, number 7. And Charlie Cahill gets the nod at number 8 jersey. Charlie Cahill came off the field, he was just all over the shot. Not all over the shot, his work rate was just through the roof. He was breaking down, pick and drives. He touched the ball 3 times in 3 minutes or something. Really good energy coming off the bench. And, he has to control that energy for the starting position and just really being able to, direct that into a controlled manner. I think probably a bit better this week. But, yeah, really good for him to come off the bench. James Botham gets a number 6 jersey. Tommy Raphael, number 7. And Tam Plumtree goes to number 8. I think it was at number 7 or number 6. Tam Plumtree was number 6 last week. So James Botham has been called into the number 6 jersey for Wales. So one last thing before we go to the back line. The breakdown was a big issue for the Welsh last week. They considered 19 turnovers, and the Wallabies only considered, I think, 12 last week. So that's one big plus for the Wallabies. And with, Wainwright injured, the Welsh breakdown will have to be really emphasized this week if they want to have any chance, especially in rainy conditions. They really need those penalties. Coming in the back line now, number 9, Jake Gordon, unchanged combination. Jake Gordon and Noah Lolesio. That experience with Jake Gordon really just give that bit of more confidence, give that back in that confidence for Noah Lolesio is really good to see. And Lolesio is still choking under pressure a little bit, missing kicks right in front of the goalpost. But I think it's really the right option to have someone like Jake Gordon to give a bit of that more, older head in the two partnership here. Number 8, Ellis Bevan and Ben Thomas. Same setup for the Welsh as well. Ben Thomas' goal kicking was really excellent last week. Much better than I was expecting, to be really frank. And again, this week, it could come down to the difference between the goal kicking between him and Noah Lolesio, especially with the raining conditions. Coming in number 11, Filippo Dalgunu and Rio Dyer. There were some guys were criticizing Dalgunu for not being the fastest player in the field like he used to be. But like I said, the reason he's selected is for his defense. Defense. And he showed last week, despite people saying that it was slower than he used to be, he's still good enough to score tries for the Wallabies. And really excellent performance last week overall. Coming number 12 now, Hunter Paisami and George Fluke. Again, with Nola Silva at 10, Hunter Paisami also taking over some of that kicking duties, some of the gameplay options as well out of the 12. Really good to see. So Hunter Paisami has always known to be one of those hard punching ball runners and just really physical kind of guy. And he's really starting to shift more into a playmaker as well, just to shuffle up that little bit of bit more options in terms of kicking. Josh Fluke as well, really good game last week. Lots of dominance carries from him. Mason Grayley coming in at number 12. I think he was moved to number 15 last week after Nick Tompkins came onto the field. I'm very surprised that Tompkins didn't get the nod here. Owen Watkins comes in number 13, the veteran for the Welsh. Bit change in the back line here. Number 14, Andrew Callaway for the Wallabies, unchanged for the Wallabies. And number 15, Tom Wright as well. Two excellent performances last week. Tom Wright got mode last week, scoring an beautiful individual try, destroying the Welsh defenders left and right, including Nick Tompkins missing the tackle on him, just giving a bit of space. Is really, really good form right now. For the Welsh, Liam Williams moved from number 15 to number 14, and Cameron Winnett gets that number 15 jersey. So a little bit of change there for the Welsh side there. In the back line now, like we've already mentioned, some changes coming in for the Wallabies. George Nasa gets caught into the number 16 jersey, and number 17, Isaac Kailea returns number 17, and Al Alatoa number 18. And not gonna try and knock Al Alatoa as much, but once Alan came on the field, the scrum dominance immediately evaporated for the Wallabies. So yeah, I think they need more scrum training for him and just put him up against Tanala Tupou. And just really try to get that scrum dominance back in the second half. Evan Lloyd coming number 16, number 17, Kemsley Matthias, and number 17, Harry Connor. Again, scrum-wise, it shows how good Tupou actually was, right? The scrum was just dead even. Second half, once Tupou came off the field. So these guys really, was definitely can contest at the highest level in terms of international test rugby in that regard. Angus Blythe gets caught in the squad for the Wallabies, coming in at number 19. And Langi Gleeson, one of the very, very promising youngsters, gets caught in the camp at number 20. Unchanged for the Welsh, Corey Hill number 19. And Mackenzie Martin number 20. I think Mackenzie Martin was here last week, but Corey Hill is definitely here number 19. More changes for the Wallabies in the back reserves. Nick White, already mentioned, coming number 21. Number 22, Ben Donaldson. Dylan Peach retains number 23 jersey for the Wallabies. Dylan Peach made his debut last week, so this will be his second test match for the Wallabies. Unchanged for the Welsh on the back reserves. Kieran Hardy, Sam Costello, and Nick Tompkins. 3 players. I think Warren Gallen was probably expecting them to come over the bench and making an impact. And the result was that Nick Tompkins missing a tackle on Tom Wright, leading into a try. So really, these guys have to lift their performance a little bit, especially as finishers. I think that, the Warren Gatland, I'm very surprised he hasn't put these guys in the starting position. And so with that being said, I think the game is going to once again go for the Wallabies. I think the bench for the Wallabies is actually very exciting. And Nick White and Ben Donaldson is definitely going to bring another dimension in terms of the kicking game as well. And the way that Nick White manages the game. Ben Donaldson, I saw absolutely spectacular form. I thought Ben Donaldson probably deserved the starting jersey based on the form that he's being in, and really, really excellent goal kicking. I saw he might be slightly ahead of Nola Lasio in terms of the goal kicking based on last week's performance. So yeah, interesting to see this. Definitely highly contested to get that starting jersey going to the Rugby Championship. So my prediction for this game is going to be much tighter than last week. So 21 points to the Wallabies and 12 points to Wales. So yes, let me know your thoughts, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching this video. I'll see you guys tomorrow when the Irish team is announced for the Springboks versus Irish match. And have a good one, have a good weekend, and I'll see you guys soon. Cheers.